Hi everyone, welcome. It is Juliet here, and today we are going to be making this a very pretty, dainty little earring, which is kind of cool because it's very metallic and it's made using all these different shades of purple. So I like this look. It's very kind of Victorian. Okay, I will quickly run through the materials. All of these did come out of the Lavender Lemonade collection, which is sold out. However, I'm still kind of using up a lot of the beads. I still have tons of beads in it. These collections are such good value. So I figured I'd just use some of these beads and make a little project for you guys. Okay, so very quickly, here we have some 15Os. These are Miyuki Galvanized Silver. Obviously, feel free to change any colors that you want. And although the collection is sold out, a lot of these items are standard in stock items at Eureka Crystal Beads, so I will put links for everything down below in case you are interested in something, okay? You will need an 8mm Chaton, and this is the Amethyst. I know it looks black, but it is Amethyst. You will also need 4mm Crystal Bicones. These are Preciosa. I believe these are also amethyst color. They came in our mix, so these are these dark purple ones. I'm assuming they are amethyst. They kind of look like it. You will need some Czech O beads. These are the Jet Argentic Full. These did come in the collection. However, they come in a wide range of colors, so you may have some in another color. You will need 18 per earring of these. Here we have some 2x3mm Chinese crystal rondelles. These are the platinum metallic color. Again, you're going to need a lot. You're going to need 19 per earring. So if you have lots of these in stock, this is a great way to use these up, because if you make a pair of earrings, you're going to be using 38 of them, okay? Here we have 4 Superduos, obviously, for double everything for a pair, obviously, okay? But you'll need 4 per earring, and these are the metallic suede purple. You will need 2 4mm pearls. These are the Krakovski crystal pearls in royal purple, and this is a Czech Firepolished bead, 6mm. So you just need 1 per earring. That's kind of the drop here, okay? And then you'll need some kind of earring finding here. I'm using these little ball stud earring posts that have a little loop down below. You could also use a fish hook style if you wanted to use that, or some other type of earring. It's really up to you, okay? Okay, and today I am using some KO nylon beading thread in black, just so that it kind of blends in. And I'm using a size 10 beading needle, but you might want to have a slightly smaller size, like an 11, on standby, just in case you have a problem getting through 15Os, okay? I will show you the back. There are quite a lot of 15Os on the back here, as you can see. So you will need to be traveling through those 15Os, okay? All right, let me get everything set up and we'll begin. Okay, I did grab 1 extra bead, just add my little pot of lost beads, because I'm going to begin with a stop bead. So go ahead and put your bead on and leave yourself enough of a tail that you can weave that in and tie it off at the end, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to sew through from the tail end through that bead again in order to form a loop which will hold that bead on for us until we're ready to take it off. So this bead can slide up and down. If you need to adjust the length of your tail, you can do that, but that's just going to help us in the beginning so that all of our beads do not fall off. We're going to pick up 3 of our seed beads and then 8 more, so 11 in total. Okay, so 3 plus 4 plus 4 is 11, and you're going to push those down till you meet your stop bead, okay? You're going to skip those first 3 beads and you're going to sew into the 4th bead, okay? So skip the first 3, so into the 4th, and pull. And this is kind of a little bit weird, this beginning. Okay, so you should now have a little loop like this, and we have 8 beads on this loop plus 3 extra beads right here. You're going to pick up 7 of your 15 O's. Okay, so that is 7. You're going to skip this next bead and you're going to sew into the bead after that. Okay. So we now have this. You're going to pick up 7 more. So that again is 7. You're going to skip the next bead and you're going to go into the bead after that. Again, pick up 7. Skip the next bead, go into the bead after that. And now you're going to pick up 4. And you're going to go down the 3 beads that we put on at the beginning with the stop next to the stop bead. And you can continue into that corner bead on the piece as well. Okay. So we now have this. You can take off your stop bead. And you're going to continue up through the first 4 beads on the next arm, which is right here. So I'm just going to go up those. So there are kind of 3 on the side and then 1 at the top. Okay, so I'm coming out from the 4th bead. You're going to pick up 2 15 O's, 1 4mm bicone, and 2 15 O's. And you're going to sew again through that end 15 O. Okay, and then you're going to sew down in the next 4 and then up the next 4. Okay, so go down 4, which includes that corner bead, and then you're going to go up these 3 on the side plus the 1 on the end, so that's also 4. Okay. You're going to repeat this, and we're going to repeat this at each corner. So you're going to again pick up 2 15 O's, 1 8mm bicone, and 2 15 O's. And you're going to again enter through that end bead. And then you're going to continue down the next 4, including this one on the corner, and then up the next 4, which will be these 3 plus the 1 on the end. You're going to repeat this 2 more times, okay? So I'm going to do that off screen and I'll come back. Okay, I'm adding on my last bicone. I'm going through that 15 O, okay? And then I'm going to tie a knot right here with my tail. And make sure that there is no slack in your piece so far. Okay. So there is my knot right here, okay? And I just added on this bicone right here. I'm going to try to travel down through the next few beads and over to the next bicone, just to get away from that knot. Okay, so we should now have something that looks kind of like this. All right, it kind of looks like a little cross or an X, okay? You're going to pass through that middle bead and the next two beads on the side of the bicone, and then you're going to come out through the bicone. And at this point, I like to turn it over so that I can still work in the direction that I like to work in, which is counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. I like to go this way. If you want to work the other way, that's fine, okay? All right, so now we're going to pick up one of our O beads, one of our crystal Chinese crystals, and another O bead, and you're going to sew straight into the next over bicone. And you're going to repeat this 3 more times. So it's an O bead, crystal rondelle, and an O bead straight into the next bicone. And one more time. O bead, rondelle, and O bead, and into the first bicone that we started at. And when you pull, it's going to form a little cup shape like this. So go ahead and put your rivoli in there, kind of hold it in there. It's not going to stay at this point, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to sew around all those beads again, and you're going to pull as tight as you can around that rivoli. Sorry, that chaton. Okay, so my stone is kind of barely in there. You have to be really careful at this point that you don't accidentally unseat it. Okay, so what you want to do once you've reinforced is exit from one of the O beads before your rondelle. Pick up a 15-0, and then you're going to sew through the next O bead, crystal, bicone, and O bead. Okay. And what you want to do is push that 15-0 in towards the middle like this, okay? This is going to help keep our stone in place. You're going to pick up another 15-0 and you're going to again sew through the O bead, the bicone, and the next O bead, skipping that rondelle there, okay? And you're again going to push that 15-0 into the middle, give it a pull, okay? So at this point, because we've already gone around one extra time, now it starts to feel a little tighter in around your chaton, so it shouldn't fall out, okay? Again, I'm going through the O bead, the bicone, and the O bead. I'm going to push that into the middle, give it a pull. And one more time, pick up that 15-0, skip the rondelle, and go through the O bead, the bicone, and the next O bead. Push that one in towards the middle and give it a pull. Okay, so your chaton should now feel like it's going to stay in there. Mine does. If yours doesn't, you may need to go around one more time, but in theory it should, okay? Okay, so exiting from the last O bead that I entered, I want to move forward through the next rondelle and O bead. So I'm coming out right before a crystal bicone. If I can get through here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you're exiting from before a crystal bicone. You're going to sew down through the next 3 beads. So you want to come out from that bead that's at the point underneath the bicone. Okay, and once you are coming out from this bead right here, you're going to pick up a 15-0, one of your Superduos and another 15-0, and we're going to sew through the point bead on the next point over, so right here. Okay, and this will just sit kind of loose like this. All right, again you're going to pick up a 15-0, a Superduo, and a 15-0, and you're going to sew into the next point underneath the bicone. You're going to do this 2 more times to add 2 more Superduos. Okay, so and you may struggle to get through that one that's next to your knot, or you may need to even step down in needle size. So do what you need to. I was able to pull it through with my pliers, but yeah, just if you struggle, just be really careful you don't pop that bead by accident. Okay, all right, so it now looks like this on the front. Go ahead and move forward through the next 15-0 and Superduo, and you're going to step up through the second hole of that Superduo. So you've turned direction, and we're now coming out from the outside of the Superduo. Okay, okay, so from here you're going to pick up 3 of your 15-0s. You're going to pick up 1 of your rondelles, 1 O bead, and 1 rondelle. You're going to enter into the outside hole of the next Superduo, and hang on, I need to get my tail behind everything here. Okay, there we go. And if your Superduos become loose, just you can tighten those off. Okay, if your Superduos become loose while you're doing it, just pull on this little thread right here and pull that tight to get all the Superduos pulled in, and then pull down on the beads that you just added. Okay, so if your Superduos start pulling away, you're going to need to pull that tight, and then pull this tight, just to get out any extra slack that might have occurred. Okay. All right, so moving on, we're going to pick up one of our one of our crystal rondelles, one of our O beads, one of our 4mm pearls, another O bead, and one more of our crystal rondelles. Okay, so rondelle, O bead, pearl, O bead, rondelle. You're going to sew into the next Superduo. You're going to repeat what we just did there. So it's going to be a rondelle, an O bead, a pearl, an O bead, and another rondelle. And we're going to sew into the next Superduo. And then we're going to do the reverse of what we did right here. So it's a crystal rondelle, an O bead, a crystal, and then 3 15-0s. And sew through that first super duo that we started in. So you should now have this. Okay. Okay, so from here you're going to sew through all of the beads until you exit from this next super duo. So sew through those 3 15-0s, your rondelle, O bead rondelle, and then exit from the super duo. You're going to pick up 2 15-0s. You're going to sew through the O bead, the rondelle, and the O bead that are up above on the bit around our chaton here. Okay, so we're picking up 2 and we're sewing through the O bead, the rondelle, and the O bead. You're going to pull this, and then you're going to pick up 2 more 15s. We're going to continue through the super duo, through all the next set of beads, coming down here until right before the next super duo. So don't exit from the next super duo, exit from the rondelle right before the next super duo. Okay, this. Okay, I'm exiting right here from this rondelle. We're going to pick up one of our rondelles, one of our O beads. We're going to pick up our 6mm fire polish bead, another O bead, another rondelle, and a 15-0. Okay, so this is what we have, plus the 15-0. You're going to push that all down. Skip the 15-0, and you're going to sew up through the rondelle, the O bead, the fire polish bead, and the O bead, but not the last rondelle. So don't sew into that rondelle up at the top, okay? And give that all a pull. And if you need to, you can just hold on to that fire polish bead and pull it, and it should all tighten up nicely, okay? You're going to pick up one more rondelle, and, oops, I'm sorry. Pick up one more rondelle, and you're going to enter into the rondelle, the O bead, the pearl on this side, okay? So just go through all those beads on that side. So we're just continuing around the circle until you exit from the super duo. Okay, so it should be looking like this, and I'm exiting from my super duo here. We're going to do the same thing we did here. We're going to pick up 2 15-0s. We're going to sew back through the O bead, the rondelle, and the O bead, going back towards where we were coming from, and then you're going to pick up 2 more 15-0s. You're going to sew forward through the super duo and all the beads until you get up to the top super duo. Okay, and you can take a second and adjust these beads on the side if you want to get them to look more even, okay? Okay, so exiting from the Superduo, we're going to do the exact same thing except slightly different. We're going to pick up 2 beads and we're only going to go through that top rondelle. So we're not going into the O beads, we're just going into that rondelle. Caught my tail. Okay. And then you're going to pick up 2 again, and you're just going to go through the Superduo. Okay, so we have this little line of beads like this on the top. Okay, we're going to pass all the way around until we exit from this pearl right here. So just pass through all these side beads and exit from this pearl. Once you are coming out from the pearl, you're going to pick up a rondelle, an O bead, a rondelle, okay, and then you're going to pick up 5 15-ohs. Okay, we're going to enter into our O bead and our rondelle at the bottom here. Okay, so we have a little line like this. Pass through the 15-oh and then go back up through the rondelle and the O bead. And then you're going to pick up the same thing on this side, so we're going to do it in reverse. So we're going to pick up 5 15-ohs. And you're going to pick up a rondelle, an O bead, and a rondelle. And you're going to enter into this pearl and you're going to sew all the way up until right before the top Superduo. Okay, so go through and finish when you come out these 3 15-ohs. Okay, so I'm exiting from the 15-oh, and this is how I attached on my earring, okay, or to make a loop. Okay, so go through that first 15-oh that's at the top right here. You're going to pick up 3 15-ohs, and I'm also going to go through my earring. If you have one that opens, you won't have to do that, but go through your earring as well. And then you're going to go back through the second 15-oh opposite. So we're coming out from this one, we're going into this one, okay? And the 15-ohs will fit inside the earring finding just fine. See, they're in there, okay? This can move over them. Okay, go back through the Superduo, and it's move forward through both of these 2 15-ohs. Move forward through the rondelle. And then move back through the first 15-oh on this side, just the first one. You're going to go over all of those beads again, all of those 3, like through your finding, okay? Go forward again through that last 15-oh. Go forward again through your rondelle, and then move backwards through the 2 15-ohs on this side and you can continue down through the next few beads on the earring wire, or on the side of the earring. Okay, so we are now basically done. We just have to tie in our threads. So I just do a few half-hitch knots and tie and kind of sew around the edge. And this tail on the back you can also sew in a similar way. Okay, so I will get that tied off and I will come back. Okay, so I got those finished, and here are my earrings. I really love the look of these. I just think they look really cool. I just need to find my other earring back, and then I will be ready to wear them. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and do please check out Eureka Crystal Beads. They always have really great sales. They're really good for their, to their customers, and there's always so many great designs and ideas in their design center. So if you ever get stuck for something, highly recommend you check that out. Okay guys, I will see you very soon for another video. Take care for now. Bye.